Welcome to Jockey Chats. We're so excited you're here. I'm so excited to be back in the office and to do this chat live in person with Sandra today. Yay! It's so long. We've been separated, so I think it's exciting to be back together. Mm-hmm. I'm Brittany Sweeney. I'm the communications manager here with the Livestock Conservancy. Sandra, do you want to introduce yourself?
Sure. I'm Sandra Kirscher. I'm programs coordinator here at the Livestock Conservancy. Equally excited to be back in the office with Brittany.
And today we're talking about American Mammoth Jackstock donkeys. We could not be more excited. You might be able to see them up in the corner of these amazing stamps. I'm having trouble figuring out what I'm trying to point. But the amazing Audrey Cadle is here to talk to us about these amazing donkeys.
There you go. That's right.
It's flipped, so like when you see. Anyway, we're getting off track. Audrey, thank you so much for joining us today. Do you want to introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about you and the amazing donkeys that you have?
Sure. So my name's Audrey Cadle, and I have a small farm in Purcellville, Virginia, where I raise the American Mammoth Jackstock. I am not a breeder. So one of the things in the beginning of the introduction on Facebook written was that I was a breeder, but I just want to make sure that I am not a breeder of any way, shape, or form. I don't have the land or the place to safely keep a jack. And I have a lot of kids that come out and adults with them, but I just couldn't do that and keep everybody safe. So, but I have fallen in love with the donkey, the American Mammoth donkey, over the past years, and have collected myself a few. And now the passion has struck me that I need to let everybody else know just how wonderful this animal is, and do my part in trying to preserve the breed, because as we're going to talk about today, they are a critically endangered species. So I'm glad to be here. Thank you for inviting me.
Wonderful. Thank you for coming, and thank you for your passion and your commitment to this breed.
Thank you.
You're definitely important for us to keep around, for sure.
Yeah, I keep buying up all the ones that nobody wants, so I can just, have them and love them.
That's awesome. Everybody needs a good home, right?
That's right. I agree.
So how many do you have?
I now have 7. In June I purchased 2 more, and they're young. Actually, I purchased 1, and the other one was donated to me and to my program. As it says in my bio, I'm in the process of trying to get my 501c3. And so she donated it to my program, and he's going to be a wonderful donkey to be able to use as teaching. She ended up donating him to me because when I got him, he had a ruptured tendon in his in the hind leg. And so there's still, if he's healing, but it's still iffy as to what he's going to be able to do. So I'm able to keep him and give him a good home for the rest of his life. And I can use him. I can use him for education purposes. I can, if anything, he can give hand-led rides. He may not be, it's just, we'll see, but he's going to be a magnificent species, actually. An example of what the American Mammoth is all about. So yes, so now I have 7, and they range from, let's see, my oldest mammoth is 22. And then these 2 that I just got are 3-year-old geldings.
Wow. And do they all get along? They all tolerate each other, like each other?
Yes. Everybody gets a nice talking to when we have new ones come, and you have to get along. I have a couple pet steers, and actually we've got a couple pet steers and a miniature heifer that are one of my daughters, and we've got potbelly pigs that were rescues, and everybody lives together. Everybody has to live together, and they do it. It's really funny. It's really fun. I mean, why not, right?
Right.
Absolutely.
They're all getting fed and loved and taken care of, and they know it. So yeah, they all live together.
So with the 501c3, I know I might be jumping ahead a little bit in our conversation, but I'm super curious now. Are you creating a rescue for educational purposes?
That's funny. I get asked that. I don't know. See, if a mammoth, because of the space I have, is presented to me and he needs to be rescued, I'm going to do everything I can to be able to rescue him. I am not like advertising that I'm rescuing. I do have, I have of my mammoths, 2 of them now I would call rescues. The others were bought intentionally, for riding, is how it first started out. But I'm leery with using the word rescue, because before you know it, I could end up with, having to move because
Everybody's going to be bringing things to your doorstep, to your barn door.
Yeah. But yes,
We heard that here. Do not show up at her house with a mammoth jack.
I am definitely a stalker. It's written across my forehead, and it needs a home. Okay, I'll take it.
No room.
Yeah, right. But I love them, and each one is just amazing in its own way. Each one of them. So
you mentioned you bought a couple for riding.
Yeah. So originally, when I got started into the with the American Mammoth, we purchased our first 2, and I think I have a picture of those 2, Brittany. That's the black and white ones that are sticking their head over the fence. Yes. So those are our first 2 geldings. The black one is Hoss, and the white one, his name is Gus. And as I was telling the ladies earlier, Gus actually is 16 years old, and he originally was a sorrel, and he's bleached out to be this color. I don't know what happened. I don't know if that's the way it's supposed to be, but that's what he looks like now. So these 2 we purchased just because my husband and I wanted to have donkeys to ride. And then it was all over. I just fell in love. I couldn't believe these animals. I couldn't believe how much they learned, and how easy not easy, because at the time I didn't have the information, but once they learned forever, and they were so safe. And for me, that was the big key, because I had as a teenager, I was one of those that loved horses, and I wanted to ride horses, and oh geez, well, I guess I'm just too big of a dork or something, because I'd get on every time I got on a horse, that horse didn't want me to be there. And so, he would do something, and I'd say, all right, that's fine. We can just walk back. I'll walk, and you can walk without me on you. And so, but the donkeys weren't like that. The donkeys didn't scare me. They're a very safe animal. And so why not get more? That's what I said to my husband. Oh, and he was on board. And so we took a trip down to Tennessee, and I brought back 7 more. Now, some were in utero, but still I ended up with, a year later, I had 7 more on the ground. So I had 9 donkeys at one point, and wow, that's where it all just started,
snowballed from there, huh?
Yeah, yep.
So Audrey, you mentioned that they're safe. Is it that they're sure-footed, or that they're calm, or all of the above plus more that I'm not mentioning?
Yeah. So a donkey is their self-preservation instinct is so alert, so high, that it makes them an incredibly safe animal. They won't put themselves in any sort of danger, or any sort of any place that they feel like, oh no, I can't cross this puddle. It's like 2 inches deep, and I don't know, I can't do that. So if I don't want to get wet that day and he didn't want to cross the puddle, then I'm safe and so is he, but in all honesty, their self-preservation is just really high. And so they don't put themselves in a scary situation. And therefore I'm fine with that because I just trust them that it's not a place that I want to be either. And they are very sure-footed. They can see the placement of each foot. With the way their eyes are placed on their head, they can see where they're placing each foot at all times. So that is amazing. And that is actually one of the traits that the mule inherited from the donkey. And then they're just, you had said, what was the other thing you had said? You'd asked me.
Calm. I think I said calm.
Oh, yeah. Really, really calm. Really, really calm. And so sometimes I must admit, like, I want them to walk a little faster. Sometimes, move out a little bit more, but, we do for a little bit and then we meander and I really don't have a need for speed and that's fine too. And neither do they. And we just enjoy when we go out on a trail ride. It's usually my husband and I, we just really enjoy ourselves because they can just go, and they love it too. And that's just the pleasure that I have found. And that's what I want other people to learn about the mammoth donkey is that, he doesn't have to be making mules. He doesn't have to be working in a field anymore. He can. I think it's, he can be working in any kind of work. It's excellent for their brains, but they're really safe and really fun to ride. So that's what we do. So all of them I bought with everything, even the two I recently, they will be saddle trained to be able to carry whatever they're able to carry. That definitely, yeah. I don't let them just sit in the pasture and just eat and they get bored. Yeah, they just get bored and fat and in trouble. I've got a Jenny who she's got a personality plus, and boy, does she get in trouble. And she's 11 years old and she still thinks she's the baby and she takes hoses all over the place and steals things and she just thinks it's funny. Yeah.
Not funny.
There's always one, right?
Yeah.
Always one. So, I mean, we're calling these guys because that's their name, Mammoth Jacks. What can folks who aren't familiar expect size-wise when we're saying mammoth? How big are they?
Okay, so the American Mammoth Jackstock Association, which is also the registry, to be classified as a mammoth donkey, your jack, he has to be at least 58 inches tall, which transfers to 14.2 hands. Your gelding and your jenny, they need to be 56 inches tall, which transfers to 14 hands. And then there's also heart girth size is like 60 inches, and then cannon bone diameter of their cannon bone. So there's a few other measurements that go into it. But yeah, you can definitely, all of mine are, I have one who's 14.2, one female. All of my males I have 4 males that are all gelded, and they are 15. So the 2 older ones are 15 hands, and my 2 younger ones, I've got one he looks like he's going to end up about 16 hands. He is huge right now. He's already huge. And he's like that tall, gangly teenager galoot looking thing, but I love him to death. And the other one, he's already like right at 50, he's probably 58 inches himself. And so at 3, they still got a good 3 years of growth left, 2.5 years of growth left. So, yeah, and another one of my jennies is 15 too. So they're all tall. And I do prefer, when I'm looking, I prefer to have the tallest or taller that I can find. But yeah, you need to look at 14 hands as your minimum period, as for a mammoth donkey. Yeah.
It's a big animal.
It's a big animal. People are always like, we ride parades and take them all places, and all the time people are saying, "Oh, what a nice mule! What a nice mule!" I'm like, "Oh, thanks, it's a donkey." And they're like, "Are you sure?" Yeah, I'm pretty sure about that. He's a donkey, but it's really so. I love it. I love teasing with people, and then that turns into a nice conversation where I can just teach them about the animal. So it's all good. Yeah.
Audrey, what's the Mammoth Jack's history in the U.S.?
Okay, so back in 1800s, 1700s, George Washington was, as we all, we might know, we might not remember, but he was very much into the agriculture and animals, farm animals, livestock, and he needed a jack in the United States that was large enough to breed to a draft horse to get the big draft mules that worked the fields. And so at the time in the United States, we didn't have much of anything that was large enough. There was a few, what we consider burros today. A lot of people call them burros, which is the standard size donkey. So he was gifted. Well, there's a lot it goes into, and I'm not going to go into all that. Anyway, the long story short, he was gifted a couple of donkeys from the Spain, president of Spain, and one of the donkeys made the journey over because they were shipped, and one of the donkeys did not. The one who made it ended up being named Royal Gift, and it was a jack. And so that jack was one of many donkeys that went into the whole gene pool that created the American Mammoth Jackstock. So they had him, and then he also, George Washington, purchased other donkeys from other parts of Spain. So there were donkeys named like the Catalonian, the Andalusian, the Majorcan, all these different, and they all have different characteristics. Some are taller, some are shorter, some were like more sturdy, bigger and sturdier. And so they basically, they being George Washington and some of the other forefathers that worked with him on this, basically what I like to think of it is they put them all into this funnel or a blender, turned it up, and then out popped the American Mammoth Jackstock. And that's how the American Mammoth Jackstock was created, basically.
That's a truly American breed.
It's truly an American breed, yes.
I think I've got a picture of George Washington with one of your...
Yeah, so that's Hoss. Yeah. That gentleman that day, I spoke with that gentleman, and he... I thought he was going to, because I started talking to him personally, I thought he was going to just start talking to me like a person, but he didn't. He stayed in character as George Washington. So it was really cool. But he told me some very interesting information about Royal Gift. And Royal Gift is, of course, the donkey that he was perceived as, the donkey, the jack who started it all. But it turns out that he had problems breeding. He wasn't interested for like the whole first year that he was here in the United States. He just didn't. It's like, so George Washington, they were like, oh no, what is happening here? And they figured, he said that they thought maybe it had to do with the climate change. And just kind of getting used to the new area he was in. But apparently he wasn't the best breeder. And so that also would make sense as to why they needed to start looking out in other areas in Europe and getting some other European breeds in here and mix them up some. So that was very interesting because I hadn't read that anywhere. And to go there and to go to Mount Vernon that day and actually have this conversation with someone who knew more than the internet or the history books were saying was really cool. So I like that.
It's cool.
Yeah, that was a great event. Yeah,
It was.
We're very
And,
grateful to Mount Vernon and the USPS.
yes.
Postal service.
Thank you.
Buy your stamps if you can.
You can find them, buy them. Yes.
Audrey, are there any, as far as I know your donkeys are probably very easy with you, but for a new folks who might be interested in getting into donkeys or, maybe volunteering at a farm that has some donkeys, are there any considerations for them? Any special ways that donkeys need to be handled or?
Sure, of course. So I can't speak for other people, but my donkeys tend to be a little spoiled sometimes, and so they know, and they're very intelligent. All of them are very intelligent. So they know when somebody new is here or somebody new is on their back. And so one in particular really will test that new person. And not in any kind of a dangerous way. It's more like, nope, I'm not going to go forward, or I'm just going to go in circles, and it's just being a brat. But so what I always do first is when I have volunteers, I just go through a quick little education process and go through how to lead them and how to act around them and how to, how to handle them and not take when they want to be a little rotten, just how to get that out of them. And really, and it takes like one no and they're okay. Now the younger ones, when I have like the two younger ones that I have now, I'm very careful not to let other people, I've had them 2 months, 3 months, so I don't allow other people to lead them and stuff yet, especially somebody who hasn't had any kind of experience with around a large animal, because they are incredibly strong. But they're so safe. They're really just so safe. And I love that. I just love, really do.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So it sounds like you have folks that are not you and your husband come onto the farm and work with the donkeys. Are you having events, or are you hosting clinics, or what do you have going on there?
Okay, so I have been in the donkey world for quite a while, but that doesn't mean that I've been able to do everything I wanted to do with the donkeys. I had 3 children that, of course, I had to raise and send along, their way. And honestly, this past year and a half, I actually thought that last year was going to be the year that I was going to, apply for my nonprofit status and be able to start up my kids' donkey club again and, do all these things. And nope, the door was shut on that because we had COVID. And, and I thought, okay, don't spend any extra money. We don't know what's going to happen. But my phone started ringing and my emails started coming in, and folks needed something to do that was outside, because we had the ickies going around inside. So let's do something outside. So I do tours at the farm, a little, tours at the farm. I now coming October 16th and 17th is going to be my first big event of this year. I am having what is called, I'm going to be part of the Loudoun County Fall Farm Tour. Loudoun County is the county I live in, for all you that aren't close by. But the farm will be open from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m., both Saturday and Sunday. And we will be doing donkey rides, hand-led donkey rides from 10 to 1. For a fee of $10. And then from 1 to 4, there will be donkey interactions, like a pet experience. And I'll have kids games and face painting and food trucks each day. Of course, the whole day I'm answering questions and giving history, and I just talk until my tongue falls off, honestly. But I love it. It's what I love it. And the past few years, and within the past few years, I've gotten, there's been a couple people in this area who have mammoth donkeys now for riding, and
Nice.
they, because of coming to the farm and experiencing them,
Well
and
done.
saying, I want a mammoth donkey. And I'm like, yes, you do. So it's been real cool, because with both of those women, I was able to be a part in helping them find their donkeys, or look at a video and say, oh yeah, that one's you, maybe should want to go look at that one, or help them in some way. And that as well is speaks to my heart too, is just to be able to help other people get ready to bring their babies home, whatever they need. So, so those are the types of things. In the next year, I hope to hold maybe some little seminars, educational seminars, maybe with just a portion, like day one or session one is all about feeding, and day two or afternoon two is all about housing, just different types of things. But yes, I definitely will be planning more events, because how else am I going to get the word out there, that these guys need to be in everybody's farm.
Yeah.
Really. So yeah, so I'm excited. I'm really excited at where this is going. God has really opened the door for me, and I just like, okay, whatever you say, now's the time, and
I'm doing it.
I am doing it. So I'm just hoping for the support. I'm looking out there, this farm tour. I've had more people come up to me and ask me, do you need help? I'd like to come help you, than I have ever had. And I just am like, it's been so blessed, really blessed. So yeah.
Awesome.
Nice. Now I heard you mention, did you say kids club?
Yes.
What's that about?
Okay, so I don't know how many years ago, maybe 10 years ago now. I don't know. My brain can't remember that. But I used to have a kids club that was a kids donkey club, and they called themselves the Donkaholics, which was wonderful. And they would come meet at my house, and I taught them all about the donkeys. We got out in the backyard, and they all learned how to lead the donkeys and handle the donkeys, and then over obstacle courses. They taught the donkeys tricks. They taught certain donkeys tricks. Let's just put it that way. Not everybody was willing to do tricks, but that one I talked about, who's always in trouble. Yeah, she's good at tricks. She's very good at tricks. So the kids learned that, and I taught the ones that were old enough how to ride them. And so they would get to ride them around and brush them and take care of them and feed them. And, what's better than that? And so then I would take them. I was also a member of the Virginia Draft Horse and Mule Association. And they called it the Virginia Draft Horse and Mule Association, but it was really supposed to be Mule and Donkey Association, because they loved it when we came, and a lot of them had donkeys. And so I would take my kids down there, my group of kids, and most of it was like in Orange County or someplace a little bit more southern than where I am. And they would put on big plowing events, amazing stuff that these folks were doing with their draft horses and their draft mules. And so we would take the mammoth donkeys as well, and the kids would be able to ride the donkeys around in the fields. A couple of the kids were taught how to drive one of the draft horses on just a single plow. The people are all amazing and teaching the kids all kinds of stuff. So then they started incorporating a donkey day event, which was really neat. And so I would take all the kids again back down to Orange, and it would be all about donkeys. And some of the older folks who were really good in training and knew what they were doing, they would train my mammoths how to pull like a carriage. I had one that was excellent at it, and he went from never pulling anything that morning to pulling a carriage, and I was driving it. just around the house, but in just a few hours. I mean, I was like, oh my goodness gracious, these things are so amazing. Unfortunately, I lost that donkey to bladder cancer. He was only 12, so that was sad. But I haven't pursued that. I just haven't had the time, honestly, and I don't have the know-how to pursue that and that part of things. But anyway, the kids also, I encouraged them to do a give back, a community give back project, and I wanted them all to think about it and for them to come up with something. So what we did was we did a fundraiser day, donkey day at my place, and we had donkey. So we had mammoth donkey rides, and then I've got a girlfriend who has she's got three miniatures that do all the different obstacle stuff. Oh, it's so fun. It's so fun. If you ever need, like, that is the best. That is so much fun. You know, like to do it with dogs, I can imagine it's fun, but to do it with little donkeys is hilarious. And I love it. I love to do it. I don't want any kid taking my spot because I want to do it. It's so much fun. And then one of the older gentlemen from Orange, he brought his little minis up and a little cart, and we had face painters and we were selling food, and it turned into a great day. And the kids raised $900, and then they gave that. We presented that check to the Purcellville Valley Sanctuary, the Donkey Sanctuary that is located in Southern Virginia. So it was really, it was a great time. It was a really great time in my life. So I want to get that going again. And I'm hoping for that to happen this fall, this winter. Winter's a harder time, a little hard, but it's okay. We can still do barn time. There's still time, things that they can learn without being outside, and freezing our tails off. But so that is definitely something I'll be doing again.
That's a great experience for kids.
It is.
Really. Yeah. All of it, especially the fact that you're teaching them to give back too. I like that.
Yeah.
Yes, they need to give back. We all need to learn that it's not just take in this world. If we don't give back, we're all for a real
world of hurt.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yes. Yes.
Audrey, do you want to take some questions from the audience?
Sure. I'll do my best.
It looks like we got a bunch of love coming in.
Aww.
Let's see. Hi, Cindy. Thanks for joining us today. We're glad you're here. Cindy says, oh my God, I feel the same way. I adore our mammoths and want people to know about them.
Awesome.
Yay.
Amazing.
Yes.
She says they also make much safer trail rides for us middle-aged older folks.
I agree. I think everybody and I'll just say real quick, Cindy, I didn't even start riding until I guess I was, let me think, 38, I think that's about when this all started. So yeah, way better.
That's awesome. Hi, Jean. Thanks for joining us today. We're glad you're here. Jean says, oh, wonderful. Mammoths. We feel the same way. Cindy also wants to know, do we have any idea of numbers of AMJs in this country? Might be a census.
Okay. So, unfortunately, I can't tell you what the number is in this country, and I'm searching my brain. I can tell you that there's about 2,000 of them left globally, if that helps. And then I can also tell you that there is less than 200 registrations annually within the United States. And so that's pretty poor.
Small number.
Yeah, it's pretty poor. Yeah.
They're critically endangered, I think.
They are critically endangered. And then somebody else had said a question earlier before this had even started. And I just wanted to clear up. She was thinking that only the black color was endangered. And so it's not just the black color, it's the overall breed. The registry does not register spotted or white colors because they weren't, neither of those was of the original coloring, but anything that's solid color or a roan, the solid except white, or a roan is considered an American Mammoth Jackstock as long as they reach the other, classifications to be that way, to be considered American Mammoth.
It's good to know. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Hi, Ben. Thanks for joining us today. Ben says, one of my favorite breeds.
Yes. Yay, Ben.
We might be biased, but we think so too. Hi, Regina. Thanks for joining us today. Regina says, even our little town has the stamps. Yay!
Good.
Buy them out. Regina wants to know, how does the donkey do in different climates?
That's a great question.
Okay, so this donkey is, like all donkeys, they are pretty much they're from desert climates. So I find that they do better. I feel like they do better in the heat than they do in the cold. But with that being said, I have never found any of my donkeys in the wintertime shivering like some do. Their coat is different than a horse, so they're not waterproof. So you do need to make sure that there is shelter, dry shelter, where they can get out of wind and rain and snow. But really, they are so smart that as long as you provide them with a place to get out of it, they do well. They do very well. I only blanket the ones that are arthritic and my older ones. Anything that's older and that just kind of acts like, oh, anybody else, they see that blanket, they're coming out and they're like, oh no, woman, don't even come near me with that. So until they feel like, and they know what it is, they know it's, until they decide, okay, I think I want to be cozy, then that's fine. They don't need it.
I'll tell you when they're ready. I love it. Hi, Sherry. Thanks for joining us today. Sherry wants to know, my husband wants a pair of donkeys, and this would be my choice. Good choice. How would they do with goats?
Well, Sherry, I can't tell you because I don't have goats, but I can tell you that if you work with them and you introduce them together and you tell them, you tell them no, and you discipline them when they chase the goats or something like that, they'll learn quick that, okay, this guy and I have to share this pasture, and if I want to stay here and get loved on, I better behave. Not to say you won't have a little bit of an adjustment time, that is definitely something you have to expect. I mean, they're about the size of, so goats are about the size of a dog, but, and with the whole dog thing, my donkeys do not do dogs. I don't bring dogs inside in my pasture. I know some folks do and you can do that, train them to, but mine it's not worth it to me. So, but the main thing is a donkey can smell, and like any other animal, the urine of a cannibal, a meat eater, and the urine of a non-meat eater. And so they know, okay, this goat really isn't going to take me down and eat me tonight. I need to learn how to deal with them. So it's trainable. I have a miniature calf. She's a heifer. She's just a year old now, but she's about the size of my Rottweiler, and she lives in there with them. So you can do it. Yep.
Great question.
That's so interesting about the difference in odor of a carnivore versus a vegetarian.
Yes.
Yeah, really. Didn't even realize that animals could sense it that way.
Yes. So you can sense they smell. They tell a lot from the pheromones and all that stuff in the urine. So a carnivore's urine can smell of meat or whatever he's eaten, and an herbivore isn't going to smell that way. We have the deer and our pigs stand right next to each other and graze. And the other night, actually it was the other morning, my husband told me, oh man, we had this nice big buck come walking up through the yard. And he walked right past Gus and they said, hey, how you doing? To each other, and off they went, no big deal. So yeah, it's a peaceful kingdom if we just allow it to be.
Right? Sure. Absolutely. Man, I think we've got a few more questions.
Okay.
Ben's got a bunch. He couldn't join us, but he's going to watch later. So Ben would like to know, are they good for a first-time horse donkey owner? 2, are they good around dogs? I am interested in them as livestock guardians against bobcats and coyotes. And 3, can they be put to work on the farm? And 4, how expensive are they?
Questions.
Well, for a purchase price and also cost of upkeep, our farm is just above the NC border here in Southern Virginia.
Okay.
I'm going to take it down so it doesn't block you, but we can put it back up as we get to the different
I was just
parts.
trying. I can do this. I might need to look back. So, first time donkey horse person. Yeah, I'm going to say yes because that's what I was. And there's so much more information out there now and available for you to get help then. So I would say yes. I would just say do your homework and get your information before you go get that donkey. Okay. Don't bring him home and then, oh no, how am I supposed to feed him, or he's getting through the fence or whatever. Okay. So do all that type of homework first. Dogs. I think dogs is it's going to be up individual donkey. I see all the time people on social media whose dogs run with their donkeys and, go on trail rides with them. And I'm like, oh my God, how does I do that? But mine do not like dogs, and mine have gone, we'll be in a parade. And depending on which donkey it is, if there's dogs on the side, the road, I'm always aware of, I know which donkey does it, but he'll just go, ooh, and, like he's going to go see that dog. And I'm like, oh, no, you're not, it's just like, so that's just something you're going to learn about your donkey when you get your donkey. Or I've also seen people say that they've trained their dog to know their donkeys to accept their dogs. So for me, no way. Somebody else, I've seen it done. So I'm sure it can be done. What else did he ask?
Let's see.
Are they good around dogs?
Livestock guardians.
Are they good livestock guardians?
Okay. So it's in their nature. It's already in a donkey's nature to be a guardian. So it's going to depend again on the donkey. Some are good guardians. It's mostly the females that are more protective than a male. Let's see. They don't care about chickens. I can tell you that, because the foxes have come into my yard and the donkeys just watch them eat the chickens. Okay. So don't expect that. But I've never had anything else taken. And and where I live, we have we have coyotes and we have sightings of a cougar around here somewhere. But nobody comes into my yard, so it's kind of like those scary carnivores, because they kind of talk to each other and say, hey, don't go there because there's these big things that are going to kick your head off, so they are good. But like I said, the females more so than and a mature female. Okay. A baby Jack gelding or Jenny, they just want to play with, like if your goats or something, they want to play with it, and that can be not so good sometimes. So yeah, I don't know. There's a lot of other people out there too that I would ask, I'd put that question out there and see what else you get about the guardian stuff. Cost. Oh, can they be put to work on the farm? Certainly. Definitely. Work them some some way, some shape, ride them, hook them up to a plow, hook them up to a wagon, whatever, something, definitely. How expensive are they? So if you're going to buy from a breeder, it seems like the breeders are all right about 5,000, I think, or so. Again, that's something else you're just going to have to kind of look at. 5,000. I can see there's other classified ads all over the place. You can get them for a little less than that. But there again, like with anything you buy off the internet, I would go at animal, especially, I'd go look at it. And just be careful and do your research on what he's supposed to look like, what the donkey is supposed to look like, before you go and pay thousands of dollars for something that comes home and can't work that long because his conformation is really bad or something.
Would you recommend buying registered stock? Especially for a new person?
That would definitely be safer. Probably. That's funny because I've never really thought of that. That's a good question. I'd say out of all mine that I've purchased, only 2 of mine were registered.
Okay.
Only 2 of them were registered. And so, yes, that would be the safest, but you're going to pay your initial to get that animal. He's going to be a very well-bred, which is great too. Just depends on how much you're willing to spend or you got to spend.
Mm-hmm. And objectives, I guess.
Yeah, definitely.
If you want to breed, of course, you're going to get something registered, but
yeah. Mm-hmm. Exactly.
And then upkeep. I think he also asked about cost of upkeep.
Okay, so when I had 2, upkeep was not so bad, hay all winter, I feed round bales, and I can get about a 900-pound round bale for $65. So for 2 donkeys, that lasted maybe 2 months or so, that lasts a long time. So I have 7 mammoths, but I've got some other size donkeys too. So I've got 11 on the farm, and I go through 2 round bales in about a week and a half. So that's what the equine. That's 11 equine, and my steers. I've got these 2 steers that are honking big because they're pets. They're 9 and 10 years old. So, they're not in the best shape. I mean, they're pretty round. So, yeah. So, and then if you feed a little feed, feed seems to be, about $25 per 50-pound bag, depending on, I've just switched over to a light, like a triple crown light, where it's very low in protein and starch and high in fiber, low in fat is what I meant, and very high in fiber. And so that kind of change, that adds a little bit, and then you've got your regular farrier, which needs to be done. Depends on your farrier, 8 to 10 weeks, every 8 to 10 weeks. That's $40-$50 a trim per animal. And then, your regular vet bills, they need a regular vet attention, just like a horse does. So they need the same vaccines and stuff, just like a horse does. If you feed round bales, I suggest vaccinating them for botulism. I do all mine, and I'm so grateful. I found a dead deer carcass at the bottom of one of my fawn, carcass at the very bottom of one of my round bales one year after I had just started vaccinating for botulism, and that would have wiped out my entire herd. Wow. Entire herd would have been, wow. Yeah. And so it's a very small cost to save. They have to be every year. It has to be, done again, but the first one is the first one, and then a month later your second shot, and then a month later, the third shot. But then after that, it's once a year they get a shot. So it's worth it unless you want to lose everybody, because that botulism will kill them all, except for your cows. Yeah. So, 2 is way more affordable than what I got going, but that's okay. I'm working it and hoping that the donations come in, and, I get a little help from the other people out there that would like to see the donkeys saved, the mammoths saved. So we'll see.
Was there any more to that question?
No, I think that was it.
Okay.
Audrey, do they need a buddy if they're out there?
Yes,
You need
definitely. Yes, you don't have one donkey of any size. Donkeys are the biggest lovers, and they love each other and they love you. But unless you plan on sleeping in the barn and living in the barn, that's just not good enough. So yes, more than one donkey, you need 2, and it's better now. Some folks get a donkey to be with their horse, and that works out sometimes, but a donkey is much happier with another donkey with him. I have seen cases, though, actually. I have a girlfriend who had a donkey, a little miniature, and he just didn't want anything to do with donkeys. He had to be with a horse, and he was nasty when he was with her and around donkeys, but when she sold him back to the man who had the horse, sweet as pie.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, so there's always the oddball, there's got to be an oddball somewhere, but yes. 2
at minimum.
Yes.
Well, as we wrap up, is there anything else you think people should know about the American Mammoth?
Oh, wow. There's so much you should know about the American Mammoth, but I know I can't stay on here all day. So I just think that they really are one of the most amazing creatures out there. And if you want to have fun, and if you want to do something, like equine-ish, and you're a little timid like I was, to get on a horse and maybe go fast when you don't want to go fast, then I would definitely look into the American Mammoth. I love, obviously, to talk about the mammoths, and I love to help people. So I do believe you've got my my website will be up, and so you can get to me that way. I'll help in any way I can. I'm also on Facebook and Instagram, so you can find me there. But yeah, I just say get 2. No,
Get 2.
Can't have just one.
No, you cannot have just one, but you won't regret it. They're just they're really cool animal.
Awesome.
That's amazing. So if anybody's just listening in, it is on Facebook and Instagram. That's at Donkey Meadows, and her website is donkeymeadows.org. And that's where you can send her an email or message her and learn all about her donkeys.
Yeah.
Or go and visit the farm.
Yeah, come visit.
A couple weeks, yeah.
Come visit. Yep. Yeah, come October 16th and 17th. It'll be fun. You'll have fun, and, make sure you say, "Hey, Audrey, I heard you on the Facebook thing."
You're Facebook famous now.
No, but yeah, thanks so much, ladies, for
Audrey, thank you
for having me.
We really appreciate you being here with us and chatting about your wonderful donkeys today.
Thank you.
Thanks for all you do for conservation of these guys.
Yes, absolutely. And thanks to all of I'm going to do our shameless plug.
She knows I don't like that part.
It's that time. So thank you to all of our wonderful members and supporters for making programs like this possible, for making it possible for us to chat with Audrey and all of our other amazing, wonderful donkey breeders and conservationists. We wouldn't be able to do this without you. So thank you. We love you. If you're not a member and you want to help us provide more opportunities like this and more opportunities for donkeys in general, become a member. You can go to our website. That's livestockconservancy.org. And or you could become a conservation champion. It's $4 a month. I think I spend more on coffee every day. But it really does go to help all of our wonderful breeds in need. So thank you to everybody who makes it possible. And thanks for joining us today. We're so excited to wind down Donkey Month and talk about our amazing donkeys. I'm just rambling right now. I'm just like, I love them so much.
You sound good.
I
guess there were a couple other pictures.
Oh, that's right. We do have one picture.
Just quick show through.
That's right.
Good idea.
So if you haven't already fallen in love with them, you will after this.
That is my favorite picture right there of how these donkeys are with children. Oh my goodness gracious. They know. They
That's
just know they're, yeah.
I love it so much.
Yeah.
This was a birthday party.
Aww.
And so this is a little birthday party. These three friends, I can't remember. I think they were sister. I think they were like the three amigas, three best friends there, and they were posing for their picture on three of the donkeys.
That's precious.
Yeah. This is a big family that visited just earlier this summer. And then this was a day camp group. They were just here in August. And that's Tracy. She's my, she always stands like that with her ears out to the side. But she's my 22-year-old. And so she stood there very happily while the boys all got around her.
Oh,
yeah.
Cute.
They're very cute. Oh, and this little guy here just loves Molly. That's the one that I was telling you about that I've sent DNA samples in on to find out just exactly what might be in her lineage. And she is a sweetheart, but this young guy loves her. And so he comes out and helps me brush all the donkeys and whatever I need done. His mama brings them out. It's a great time. I really enjoy these people.
Oh,
I love that fur coming out of their ears.
So cute.
And she's actually one that I got from a rescue. I adopted her from a rescue. The rescue called me and they were like, "Hey, Audrey, you got to have this donkey." And I said, "Okay, let me come see. I'll bring my trailer just in case." And yeah, it didn't take long. But they kept saying, "Please, please, Audrey, don't cut her mane. Don't cut her mane." And I was like, "Well, she's got to look like a mammoth, And then I got her here and I was like, "Oh, yeah, I'm not cutting the rein. I'm not cutting anything." She's just so pretty. So there she is, her shaggy self. Yeah.
Great photos.
Thank you.
Thank you for sharing those with us. We really appreciate it. Yeah. Well, thank you again, and I hope everyone tunes in again next week when we start Goat Month.
Goat-tober!
Yay! I love goats. I love everything. I don't think I've met an animal I don't like. Every month I'm like, this is my favorite. Anyway, sorry, I get excited. Have a great afternoon, everyone.
Yeah, thanks.
Bye.
Thank you.